Look, I need to take off my shoes, dry my feet off.
People's technology, the Wi-Fi and everything. I was like, what the heck?
Technology's not my
I call my girls and say, hey, I need you to do this and this. You kind of don't need to do this.
That's what's going on last year. Set up all-
You had to learn how to do it. No, I wouldn't.
I would
I really know to do it. I
And
would call
when I got
somebody
back
out.
to my own room, other people have been using my computers.
Hello.
You bring your paddle boat, work on those biceps, paddling right around town.
Almost needed it to get out of the car.
Technology for days. It'll take me hours to get it back.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah. Can't believe it's so close to being here. I'm like,
A couple of weeks from today.
yeah.
I am so glad I'm not buying
I
school
was talking
supplies
to
or back to
somebody.
school clothes or anything.
Here. They start on the second. First teacher goes on the second.
Oh my gosh. My neighbor works in Perry Zoo. I think yeah.
Mark Pleasant, I think he was back in 26. The twins.
Yeah. We,
So are you gonna be doing our video today?
I got two
I
files.
think though, isn't Clark Pleasant
You
still
sent
on
me?
a more balanced?
Is that what you mean? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like a video too. I'm like, you didn't send me a video, just the two.
Right, just the two, yeah, budget and cardboard, yep,
Yep.
that's it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do I need to forward that to you? That's
I
fine.
know.
we, on the 16th for Christmas, I'm like, really? We get up 10 days before Christmas? No, we don't go back until, the 3rd or whatever it is. I'm like, just give us 2 weeks into August then. What is going on? I'm like, that is, yeah. But in Christmas is my big need. Because I'm like, most people can't travel, and then all these parents that are still trying to work and do everything. But no, otherwise I agree with you. I'd rather.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Good.
Isn't it lovely? It is lovely. Look at you though. You still got the big umbrella out and walked over.
Let's go, absolutely. And I'm thinking, all right, what am I on? There's all kinds of places.
Yeah. You can kayak back and get some exercise.
That's right.
Yeah. Hi, Dawn.
Hello.
How's that? Did you bring me some? This year?
That's the back.
John may get approved and have to start signing vouchers if Pat doesn't show his first meeting.
He's sitting out of the car.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Let's call this meeting of the Johnson County Solid Waste Management Board together at 1:32 p.m. July 12th, 2020. That's a long intro, isn't it? That's a long intro, isn't it?
Okay, ready for roll call?
Yes.
All right. Kevin Walls,
Present.
John Myers.
Here.
Ron West. Brian Baird. John Graham.
Here.
Mark Myers. David Lexi. So we have one.
Okay. First order of business is approval of the May 10th, 2021 minutes. First and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Passes. Next on is, we waited for Pat, the treasurer's report. So we're letting him unpack.
Thank you. Pat, you look like you're zooming in from outer space. Did you take a ride on the,
You and Richard Branson?
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Did you go with Richard and stay out there?
There you go. Good job, sir.
Sorry.
Doesn't make me look any better. You have in your packet, the period May 8th through July 9th. Our cash register. I have all the claims here. If anyone has any questions?
Are there any questions for Mr. Sherman? That's pretty easy. I take a motion. I got one from Dawn. A first and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Motion carries. That's probably the easiest one you've had in a long time, isn't it?
Much later.
Don't steal my paper, please.
CAC 6-month report.
COVID has been a bad thing for many people.
Can you do one thing for
Yes.
the audience? Can you just state your name?
Introduce, I am Mark Appleton. I am on the CAC board. COVID has been a bad thing for many reasons, but for a good thing, it has given us an opportunity to look at things. We've had more time. And we've tweaked a few programs that we're doing, and we've introduced some new ways of doing some things. Our recycling volumes have grown. Our education has grown. New community programs such as Earth Day outreach with all libraries in the county the week of April the 22nd. We've had county-wide free little libraries that you see here and about throughout the county that we have taken time to put some things in there that not only are things that kids can use, but they give some education opportunities that are presented on postcards that are there, and some clues that they can find on Facebook to get what they need to know. We have some school mini grants going, increased traffic in Facebook and Instagram. We've partnered with various community partners for adult programming, and the Greenwood Water and Sewer and Purdue Extension programs being some that we are partnering with. All of our staff are CPR trained and bloodborne pathogen trained, as well as forklift trained. The CAC is working on better and more ways to reach into the community. One of the things that we're really kind of excited about is the cardboard recycling that we're just on the brink of opening up. There are a lot of places out there that would like to, especially small business, would like to recycle their cardboard, but they can't get to the recycling place during the work hours, or they don't have the facilities to pick up what they need to pick up and get to the recycling place, nor do they have the storage place where they are to store stuff. So if we can pick up some kind of a pickup program, which we're trying to do, we can go to some of these small businesses a few times a week and pick up the things that they have and get them on board with recycling cardboard. We have a baler back at our establishment that we can scale what we pick up. So things are looking really good from our end. Even with COVID, things are looking good. You have the budget that we have all approved in front of you. So if you have any questions about that, we can entertain those.
I got any questions for Mr. Appleton? No,
We'll do it later, but
I'll
I
do it later.
just want you to know
if
that the
there's anything.
CAC has seen it and has okay.
That's part of our legal process.
From our end, we have to look at it and say, we think it's okay. So I'm giving you we have the okay, so now when you have your opportunity to look at it, you can give it your okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Director's report. Jesse?
Well, welcome. And we obviously have a lot to discuss today. But as an update on programs, we were super excited to be able to have two huge events, both with the City of Greenwood in their MS4 program for rain barrels and going to see what the Nature Center has been doing up with their waterways and the sewers. And that event had about 15 people. And then we also partnered with the Purdue Extension Office, and we had a compost and rain barrel event for them. And we had almost 20 people at that event. And that event was 2.5 hours of full engagement. And normally at 8:30 at night, we'd be like, this is an awfully long day to be still talking about this. But they were so excited. And it was probably one of the best outreach adult programs we have had in a long time because of their engagement. Obviously, when people are as interested as you are in what you're talking about, it makes things a lot easier for discussion and for growing. So we are hoping to partner again with Purdue Extension in the fall, maybe the Master Gardeners. Again, we all overlap, but we each take a different piece of what we are educating on. And so it was really a great opportunity and a great opportunity for some of those people who, yeah, they've heard about the district, but really didn't know some of our other programming. They were just blown away by what they received. And of course, you know, Carla's work and helping with the worm bins and us too, learning what's out there and what people are actually doing, because they don't always, you know, tell us that they have, you know, worms growing in their basement to the tune of, I can't even imagine how many thousands. So for their vermicompost. It was really exciting. It was exciting to kind of be back. It was like, yes, programs again. So we've increased those. We're hoping to do some more. As Mark mentioned, the CAC is actually going to do a lunch and learn next week. Again, also up in Greenwood, to speak about the path, speak about some of the things they've done, and specifically to go into the Nature Center. So we are picking up and renewing a lot of our education programs as well. We've been working with Dearborn County on that. They have quite a few that are expansively online, but also then parlay into what's going into a classroom, so that if they can't completely have you in, you know, there's a piece that they could do online, and then we would be able to do a piece in person if we were able. So lots of great opportunity with that, and a continuation of the schools in general with their recycling, as I spoke about in May. We continue to get lots of phone calls, and we'll discuss that as we talk about the cardboard recycling route in regards to ways that they can increase their recycling, since they are looking to kind of get back in the game. Interesting for me that we weren't there the entire year and we're seeing more recycling go on. I don't know what the correlation is. They didn't see our faces, so they thought, oh darn, we better do something different. But whatever, we're happy to see it, and we're happy to help create their programs and hopefully grow their programs and partner alongside of them. So it's just exciting. It's exciting for the change, and it's exciting to get back into doing our programs. So Lynn, did you want to take us to follow up on the Edinburgh Recycling Depot?
I'm happy to do so. Just by way of history, you all recall at one point we were approached, we had sense from the town manager of Edinburgh. They were not interested, words in their mouth, but because of some staffing questions that they had, they weren't sure if they were going to continue the site with any more than just a minimal amount of hours in one day, which didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense given the extent that's involved. Our interlocal agreement with them allows them to make the decisions as to what the time of the days. However, it allows us to determine if we want to appropriate funds to support it. And so rather than simply send a notice that we were going to not appropriate it, perhaps started an unnecessary battle of things, Mr. West was kind enough to reach out to Dan after I was going to have lunch with Dan. And Dan, I think, confirmed for Ron what I just said. In the interim period of time, Mr. West, that's why I'm here to give you an update. I reached out to Mr. Huddleston, who was their attorney, and said, I think this is what I understand. Mr. Huddleston said, I will follow up with my town council. That makes sense to me. When he followed up with town council and Don, my junior as our representative, the town council said, no, we really would like the program to continue. We think we need to tweak maybe its location and who is overseeing that. And previously, it was located in the street department. Jump in and correct me if I get it wrong. It was located in the street department, and they didn't feel that they had the staff to be able to staff it during the days or the times of operation. And in the interim, they believe now that they move to the wastewater treatment plant, they do have a designated person, and in fact, I've looked out for part-time staff, and I think they're in the process of bringing them on to run it, so it will go back to, if not more, at least what it was before. That was the, as I understand, it, talking to Justin, the consensus of the council, and Mr. Hurlston confirmed to me again this morning that that's what the consensus of the council would be if we were inclined to be cooperative. I indicated I'd be here this afternoon, and if in fact we want to proceed forward, I think the program would be a very short amendment to the interlocal agreement, because the interlocal agreement does say where it's going to be located. But if we don't have a problem with it, whether it's the street department, whether it's the utility wastewater treatment. I do believe that the new designated representative from Edinburgh is now the wastewater treatment representative. I'm sorry, her name escapes me. Rebecca, and she will coordinate with Jesse, getting things moving. Jesse, I reached out to her. She also indicated that this would be great for her to get things moving. So it would come back to you. I'm glad we took the diplomatic approach, if you will, because I think that as a result of that. So, Dawn, do you have anything to add to that?
No, the last meeting we had, we were still under, Dan was supposed to work towards meeting with either you or one of the members. And they haven't come back in front of us, so we're kind of still up in the air. I knew we were moving it to the wastewater department, but the hours, I believe, was supposed to be at the same time that the compactor is there and open, because we have someone that staffs that.
That's right, which gives us about what we're actually a little more potential than we originally wanted. So, yeah, that's consistent.
And we're thrilled. I mean, that was one of the places that we had suggested. And so we're very happy to see that happen. And I will tell you, Carla and I could not believe the amount of phone calls we actually received from the Edinburgh people wanting to know what had happened and why they were losing the spot. And so just when you think that people aren't paying attention or don't care, you really do realize that they do care. And so I hope that you kind of have that support as well to recognize that, it definitely is a community that is looking for recycling and an update to their programs. And so, yeah, we said we can move it as soon as they're in a position to have it moved, and certainly we'll update, and then we'll start re-educating on where everything is and our hours and moving forward. So I'm really excited.
And they're interviewing here. They actually have
You guys think you want to?
Well, Ben's concern was the utilization, I guess. He indicated it was other days only 2 or 3 people would stop by, something of that nature. So my question is utilization out?
We have not had any new reports since the last, that's been a month or so ago.
I doubt it is, because I don't think they
I don't
have.
think they're operating at all.
I don't think they're operating. Yeah, I think that's the problem, is that they just went ahead with changing the hours. So no one really knew what was going on. So it was hard to educate and to know what to let people be aware of. And so we just kind of said, blank slate, move forward, move it to a place that already has, trash. Hopefully it will increase the amount of people that visit on a regular basis.
Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, but we got, the district got most of the phone calls.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, we were very surprised. I mean, and we certainly referred them back to Edinburgh, because that was the best thing for us to do. And so I am sure they made their voices heard, but it's very, as you are aware, I mean, how long did it take us to get more than 15 people a day when we first opened? So not being able to really educate and have specific hours and know exactly, and then diminishing it to what it was, which was not convenient to anyone.
That was one of the points I tried to make to Dan, was that it takes time, you got a lot of starting where they were, and I think they do, it's a growth.
Right.
So, well, anyway, I'm glad that it's working out, we'll see how it works.
And we would love, I think there's more than enough opportunity for not only obviously the residential community, but certainly the town as well. The town had been using the spot a long time ago. We went and educated them, when we had the drop-offs. This was one of the reasons why it was one of the cleanest drop-off locations we had. So to go back and really educate on what we can take and what we can see, I mean, it's most of the stuff that they're going to have, the bottles, the cans, the paper. I mean, all of those things. We just never had that opportunity because of COVID. So to have that opportunity, and for them to have that opportunity to be able to recycle in their apartments, I think is something they're going to welcome.
Mr. Chairman, if I might request, I don't need a formal motion or anything, but if consensus is that you do want to proceed with this change of location, I could then ask Mr. Carlson to go ahead and prepare a formal amendment to the agreement approved by his folks, which will occur prior to our next meeting in bring it forward. We still have the agreement in place, it's a 2-year agreement, the date off the top of my head. If in fact we need to go forward and move it, ratify it, if that's okay with you folks, and I bring it back to our next meeting for a formal amendment to the law. Doesn't change the price, doesn't change it.
Change this location.
Yeah.
Our agreement says we specify the location.
No, it says they specify the location and they have to man it. Exactly, and then we we pay for the cost of it, but it's subject to our appropriation for it. So it's one of those things, as Dusty and I said, they get to determine how many hours or where they want to have it by the same token. I'm sorry, not where they want to have it, how many hours and how they want to staff it. The agreement does say where it's going to be located in the actual agreement. We never thought about changing it. But as Dustin, Mr. Carlson and I discussed, rather than get into, we just will appropriate it, and it just makes more sense to have this conversation. I will.
Right? I do. You got general consensus from the board, looks like.
Thank you, sir.
Opposition. So,
Is
yeah.
there a parking plan to notify the residents there where to move to?
Well, that's what, I mean, once we move, we will certainly, I mean, they normally put it on their sewer bills. We'll certainly do a big thing. We'll get the newspaper, the portion that's down there to write up an article. It's just kind of, once again, waiting for the final, yes, go ahead and move it so that we can let everybody know. And then from there, we'll be able to work with the community center and go back and do a town hall, all the things that we had planned. I mean, truly even a ribbon cutting ceremony that we never even had. So we can do that. I mean, there's so many things that are available that we just couldn't do because of COVID. So.
Justin, do you think you get much pull over from Bartholomew County being that close to Columbus?
No, I think it's the exact opposite. I think when we're not there, everybody goes to Bartholomew County because they want to believe that it's there. So if anything, we help Bartholomew when we're open. Actually, my bigger concern, as I said to Don, is not only do I think that this will help us, but I think it will help them because I think a lot of people abuse their system down there because it is open and nobody has overly staffed it. So I'm hoping it can be a win-win for both communities.
I got any more questions on that? Sounds like you got consensus to move forward.
I will do so. Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Huddleston, make the amendments.
Okay, and I am sorry, I don't know your name.
Jeff,
Did you get any information about cardboard collection?
yes.
Okay, great.
You ready for that slide?
I am, thank you. Okay, hopefully everybody can see the slides for cardboard collection. Again, I brought this up in May about the fact that really we had hoped to move forward with this, probably 6 to 8 months after we opened. And then once again, everybody knows why we weren't able to at that point. So I bring it back to you, the idea of being able to create a cardboard route that takes us from where we are now, which is the drop off of residents and some small businesses. We do have 1 or 2 that on a regular basis do bring a box truck to us. I would imagine they would continue to do the same. To an additional collection route. And that additional collection route would focus on, once again, those small businesses that truly do not have access to other means for collection. I bring up Franklin a lot. I had actually spoken to this about Commissioner Baird about 2.5 years ago when we had hoped that we were going to be able to work something out with Goodwill, but unfortunately that all shifted. But most of the businesses around here, of course, are small businesses. They are operated by a single person oftentimes, and so they don't have the availability to bring us their material and let alone hold their material. So this is one of the, when people ask us, well, how could you help us? You know, when we reach out to them, this is one of those themes that's constantly resonating. We know the same thing happens in Greenwood. I'm sure that happens in all the small communities around Johnson County. So we would like the opportunity to start a route that would collect from small businesses, schools, libraries, and of course, any small governments that too don't have the opportunity. We in Johnson are lucky enough that I realized that there was a bin out there for cardboard at one point, and I once again communicated with Commissioner Baird, and we talked about the fact that we could change that over and make it a full commingle. So commingle bins were out here, they're able to use that bin that they have already. So if we have that, obviously it is not our intention to come in and make any changes to any programs. It's more for those communities that don't have access to that. Bartholomew is excuse me. In my brain, sorry. One of those opportunities are those in the southern part of the county. Obviously, when you come from Johnson Central South, we know there's not a lot of availability of recycling. I mean, that's just because of the means and because of the spacing of the clients. It's just not feasible for them to come in and do that. So we obviously would focus on areas that we know there is no, well, first of all, that reaches out to us. And the first question is asking if there's opportunity or seeing if there's opportunity. We know that one of the reasons why there is an opportunity here in Franklin, and certainly in the same thing in the Greenwood Old Town area, has more to do with the fact that the alleyways are small, there are no trash receptacles, those sorts of things. So again, this is not to circumvent any businesses that already have this available to them. This is more to grow programs for people that do not currently have the availability of this service. So if you can go to the next slide. Can I go to, oh, thank you. Okay. So if you look at that, one of the questions that was asked was, what do we need? And so at present, we have a recycling supervisor, we have part-time staff, the baler, the forklift, the pallet jack. We have a lot of things in place to obviously make this work at our office. But in 2021, what I would like to see happen between now and the end of the year would be a shifting of Stephen's position from recycling supervisor to ops manager. We talked about the fact that we would need another full-time person. When I went back to the office and started talking with both Carla and Stephen spent a lot of time and thought, and he said, you know, I can do this. We don't need to hire another full-time person as long as we can hire a stable part-time person at about 25 hours a week. And I said, it makes sense because currently we are closed on Mondays. So we would shift his availability to actually being able to do this operation on Monday with a cardboard recycling person. And then Thursdays as well when we have extra coverage. So that allows us to actually change his position to ops manager at both the cardboard route and the recycling center without us hiring a part-time person and only increasing his salary slightly now. And then once again, of course, with the budget cycle of 2022, and then including the necessity of trying to find that part-time person. So we have many things already. We could, in theory, start this and use the van and use the truck to get our momentum going. The way we operate, that's probably what we'll do if we get the go-ahead to get moving. But the biggest thing that we would like to see is, of course, we'll need toters and gaylords for those businesses that support this program and that are participating in it. Another pallet jack for the truck itself, and a box truck, because ultimately that is what we need to be able to move in and out of these smaller communities and schools. We don't want a large box truck. We don't want anything that requires air brakes and certainly certain licensing. We are just lucky enough that Stephen does have many of those licensings. But in general, we need to ensure that the part-time person obviously could drive this truck if it became necessary. So we would like to keep it to the simple 16 to 18 feet. Again, very basic, used box truck. So in 2021, I would need to see the current title and job description changed. We would set up for pickups of these businesses on Monday and Thursday. And of course, we would use the rest of the week and the other staff, including Stephen and whomever we were to hire, to make sure that all of that cardboard was continually baled the way it is now. We never let our cardboard stay on the floor. It's always in the cycle of baling. We've been lucky enough to have that process of it because we have enough staff to be able to do that. It would be our hope that we would be able to continue that as it not only helps to keep the cardboard in better condition, but then we don't have to worry about any of the fun little animals that like to come in when you have cardboard just laying around. And one of the exciting things, as I mentioned, is we've had many schools reach out to us. Creekside Elementary in specific has done this program for many years. They actually did it through Pepsi, the Indiana Recycling Coalition. And many of those programs went kind of off the radar, mainly because they were grant funded. So I spoke to the principal and I said, you know, what is it that you're looking for? He said, well, I would like to be able to collect plastic bottles again and certainly our cardboard. And I said, I think we can do that. I think we could offer you the mini grant of, you know, the clear streams, just like we did the other school. And I think we could come and pick up your materials. You would be a great pilot program for us to see if this actually works. I know that most high schools, certainly in the central and northern area, have cardboard recycling. Some have, like Center Grove Middle School, just created plastics recycling. But most of the elementary schools all over the county don't have that availability because there's far too many of them. So when you start including those into your looking at trash at that specific area, generally the cost runs too high. So we would like to see what we can do for those areas that don't have it available to them. Again, mainly elementary schools, and certainly Franklin would be a great start. And it just so happens that Creekside did reach out to us specifically about that. So they would be a great pilot program for us. One main reason, because they already know what they're doing, because we know education is key. And so they're already aware of what we expect. And so that's great. And then moving beyond in 2022, you will notice as we've discussed the budget, you will notice that I do as well have a trailer or trailers. What that would be is if we were working with the schools, I could see them using a trailer type system where we would actually come in once a week, grab the trailer, empty it, and then bring that trailer back to the school. That is how they handle it in a lot of the southern part of the county. So we would look at that in order to be able to move our materials back and forth and keeping them in the clean condition that we need them to be. Another vertical baler, because I hope that this program increases enough that we would need to be working on one side with the residents and the other side would be the more of the cardboard route. And then of course, miscellaneous materials and the gas and maintenance. The benefit in 2022 is that for those things that were not already purchased in 2021, which we do have funding for, I can see us putting in for the Recycling Market Development Board grant. We have never done that as a county. Thankfully, Commissioner West sends it to me quite a bit, and I keep telling him I want to wait until I can use it for something that I know we want funded. So one of the things that I would see us doing would be asking for funding for such things as the toters and gaylords, trailers, a vertical baler, truly putting our program dollars out there. It's very difficult right now to figure out exactly what the cost of anything would be because many of these things are not available right now. Many of these things are still unavailable because of China and because of sitting on docks and plastics in general, because most all these toters and gaylords are made out of plastic. So it is very difficult to figure out what we could truly have. Is that by 2022, we would obviously have a better grasp of that. So we do have some 96-gallon toters that we could certainly get this program off the road with. Again, when we're talking about schools, we would be talking about clear streams and mini grants, and that's easy as well. We've been able to obtain those things. It's more of the bigger items. I've been looking for used box trucks all over. Unless I want to go to Pennsylvania for a 300,000-mile box truck, it's not something I'm able to easily quote. So that is why I could not necessarily put a true exact number, but why you also noticed that the budget for 2022 was higher in those areas that are more mechanical and operational. So, thank you. So if you look at, and you will see that this is actually the same 6 months budget that you have, or if 6 months goes July, budget that you have in front of you. If you notice your highlights, this one did not get the highlights because our scanner wasn't cooperating, to be honest. But if you look at what you were given in Pat's presentation, you will see that there are highlights. I also did mention them off to the side. The biggest thing is I'd like to change the recycling supervisor to operations manager and increase salary to $40,041, which is a 5% increase starting August. Hire a part-time cardboard assistant at $16.50 an hour. Must be able to drive a truck, which is huge, as we know there is a whole lot of places doing drug testing right now, and become forklift certified. All of our employees are forklift certified currently at the district, and so we want to make sure that that continues. For evolution, we will market the program once again through community partners, pilot program with Creekside Elementary, social media blitz, and of course, direct public education through the recycling center. One of the best ways to let people know what's going on is when they come to the center and they ask us questions. Word of mouth, of course, is huge for us, and so the more that people know, the more we can get out that information. And as far as resources, we have the ability to purchase that equipment in the 2021 budget by using the recycling center, the county recycle spots, and board discretionary funding. And I also did want to mention that the sale of cardboard, of course, continues to go up. We are currently actually at $130 a ton. We receive 80% of that when we do a semi-load. But over the past 10 years, the average price is $91 per ton. So I know we're always looking at, statistical averages. We have to remember that, of course, the district is not a money-making machine by any means. We do provide, we are here to provide education and services as we can. But there is a benefit to the fact that we are able to sell our cardboard and back to Pratt as well.
Any questions?
They would be like an enclosed trailer that would just be able to hitch onto the back of the pickup truck, and we would just move them with the pickup truck. They do, and that's why it's always disappointing when they just put everything into the trash. So the difficult thing is that you obviously have to have trash at a school, but very rarely do they include trash and recycling unless it is more at the high school level. At the high school level, we see that a lot with cardboard because a lot of things get disseminated, plus you have all your sports equipment, you have other means at those facilities. Well, with Creekside, that is what we would like to do, is to be able to provide that for them. So we would like to use them as a pilot to see, as you said, what are we capturing? We do have a scale, we have an availability to use that as a pilot, and then truly kind of use that as an estimate for other communities. It does also, sorry, Commissioner, it does also help them if they are looking for other outside grants and environmental programming to have that data as well. And we know that for communities too, so.
If we were having a certain amount of success, of course, all of these things eventually are going to have to be evaluated on the success and the financial aspect. With the revenue garnered from receiving.
Well, we'll never receive the revenue to cover everything. I mean, but it's nice to at least know that we receive rebates for things.
There's certain revenue.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that would be, so the question would be, would we want to have the availability too? If all the schools are willing to do it, can I then show you know, the other private companies, hey, look at this collection, look at how well they're doing. What would you charge this school who happens to have 7 elementary schools?
I would think that depending on the success that you demonstrate, that you're excited to do, that if the other schools wanted to participate, they could probably buy materials themselves. That's everything.
Absolutely. I think there's lots of opportunities for partnership. They could also, you know, you could, that same community district could probably go after a recycling market development board grants and be able to get, you know, use us as a match. You know, there's lots of things that could happen, but if we don't start someplace, then we can't. Mhm.
So what captive audience, right?
Well, and they have that interest.
Well, and I, you know, for me, I look at Franklin and I think to myself, in an hour and a half, how much could we collect just right here that would not go into the landfill, considering how many businesses operate out of cardboard?
Commissioner West, to your point, I know that Franklin's was a mayor's youth council, and they almost inevitably have a recycling interest. Their last project was putting, you know, water fountains that they use the plastic bottles. Now they're wanting to repurpose paintings and things. So to your point, they seem to have I don't know if that's what you were alluding to, they seem to have an interest in those kinds of community projects.
I can't get my mind off the worm on the ocean.
I'm gonna have to show you the picture of the guy in Fort Wayne.
Somebody's Facebook, that's, you know, I got
That's what a lot of them do. They don't realize that it's vermicomposting, but that's what a lot of them do. Now, that's not what he's doing, nor is it what the person in Fort Wayne is doing. But there's a Purdue student that just graduated 2 years ago, and his vermicomposting program is out of sight because he's, I mean, that material is so good for the soil.
You know where most of it's going, don't you? It's Colorado.
Is it?
It really is. And you can guess why it's going Colorado.
Harvesting a certain product.
Yes, it would
It's
be
not yet legal
top,
in India.
yes.
Well, I'm
top
asking to go to
fertilization.
Michigan.
It might be a shorter trip now, but Colorado is the only one at the time.
Yeah.
So we need to look at this and I guess come to some kind of general conclusion on this. Am I got any?
Yeah, so on the vehicle you're looking at, what year range on the mileage?
Normally I find like 3 and then I'm smart enough to defer to my board and say, what does anybody think about this? And then somebody normally pipes up and says, well, let's look at this. So I can't say beyond, I mean, I know I don't want a $300,000, you know, box truck, but I would think $300,000. I don't want a $300,000.
You're not gonna get a
Yeah,
$300,000
mile box truck, but you know, 150,000 miles. I mean, I would imagine that that's probably not much on a box truck, you know, especially one that's just staying within the county. The biggest thing is we of course have to be concerned about maintenance on, you know, a much older vehicle. But as far as year goes, I mean,
So I'm kind of curious, you know, you got 50,000, I don't know what a box truck goes for.
550, 60, I would imagine.
Does it have to have a lift gate?
yes, we do need a lift gate. That's the one thing that we have to have.
Well, if you go with a lift gate, you're probably a diesel, then you're probably gonna get average, but you don't need a CDL.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, absolutely.
I'm kind of looking at this as 2 different entities. In the school setting up something and you setting up a mobile cardboard recycling. Is that my understanding of that?
No, that's who we would be approaching with everybody. I mean, because there's no way that, like, even if we start in schools, we have to have a way to get the material, you know?
But if you're going to start with Creekside as a pilot program, so you're going to set up with 1 school right now.
Right, we're gonna set up with Creekside, but I mean, our hope is we'll do Biz Bash in September. So if we are good with this, like when I go show up at Biz Bash, I mean, we're letting everybody know this is available if you are a small business. And then we will track them. We'll see, okay, no, if you're whatever the case may be. You already have, you know, Waste Management or Best Way or one of those, and you have the availability. No, you need to look at that availability Subway or I'm just throwing that out there. So, but I'm talking more, you know, these small downtown businesses that just don't have the opportunity to get that, and yet they have so much cardboard. It's always one of the things they bring up to us at the chambers and at the different programs.
Right.
I would be concerned we probably should look at state program to buy a new van, a new box truck. John, you think it's what you, I hate to get a used one.
I mean,
We
I
live with
don't
one.
buy somebody else's problems.
Right.
If it's junk and I don't know nothing about box trucks, that's why I got a Brian down there.
I don't either. That's why.
I would,
I don't know what a brand new
You're
one
getting
costs.
used when you're getting one of used, I guarantee you.
I wouldn't let the program go over it because we're trying to find a used truck on the state program. Try to get a reasonable price. If we have a warranty on, we can get it. And we've had good luck with our new trucks, and certainly folks at the office have done a great job of keeping it maintained in use. I just want you to try to maybe consider.
And again, you know, we always keep money in board discretionary for a reason. So if I put 50,000, but it costs 75,000, you have the opportunity to obviously utilize that to transfer funds. If we find something now that's 50,000, again, I think there's opportunity within that. The box truck to me is the one thing that if we did find now would of course solve a lot of our problems. The rest of it, we can figure out solutions for until 2022. And or until the Recycling Market Development Board grant.
I mean, I know my favoritism right now would be to at least maybe get 2 trailers. I know Creekside, I just don't know what the usage is gonna be on those trailers and what size. You're probably gonna need at least a 16-foot trailer. You're gonna need a pretty good sized trailer.
Yes,
But you've got a truck, you need to make sure your current truck can pull that trailer.
it should. Yeah.
Because you've only got, you have a 3/4 or half ton now.
Yeah.
So that might be a challenge for that 16-foot trailer.
But it is at least, it has the brakes, it has the towing package.
Yeah, it has to show that.
Yeah, but there's a limit on
At
that.
least
So
it has the brakes.
yeah.
Oh, I know that, but at least it does have, it's already has wiring.
I mean, the box truck, I mean, you're gonna have a hard time, I believe you're gonna have a hard time finding that right now, because the market is.
Oh, I totally
Volatile.
agree, yes.
But I think the trailers, you could go up to Mace Trailer or any trailer place and pretty much buy a trailer right now and set it up and get this pilot program working with Creekside pretty much immediately.
And we could also, I mean, we can use a trailer even to drive around to capture cardboard. So
And you're low to the ground, it's easy to load. it's
exactly,
not-
that's the biggest thing. We have to be able to access it both, you know, for them, but for us, we have to be able to, you know, which I already know, I would just do 2 sides and then do flip down and I've already got it all.
Resume, what, in August, first
Mhm.
August. sometime.
Yes, I told him after this board meeting, he and I would have a meeting, so.
I guess anybody else got any suggestions, recommendations, motions? Wow, quiet today.
I don't know until we try it. It's what you put into the program, the way it physical aspects you can sell.
Absolutely. And that vertical balers do sell all the time. You know, box truck, as we know, we can sell, getting buy one now. So, I mean, yeah. So from that standpoint, I agree totally. It's more, as you said, it's gonna take time to build, but I know it can be built. Bartholomew and Monroe do this all the time and they're very successful.
Well, yes. Somebody can establish costs associated with all this. Got prices, got labor, kind of number together.
Well, I mean, basically right now, the only, insurance, I can't do anything. Because until I have a person and the trucks and they decide what it's layered. I mean, I can't just call for, it's not like quoting a house where I can be like, you know, what does this look like? Okay, then I guess $20,000, that's what I budgeted. You mean a 16-foot
I
one?
don't think we want to put a big box truck. I
Yeah,
think we
no.
might want more of a cargo type van.
Yeah.
Then they-
Monroe does a 16-foot, and I feel very comfortable. You can get the lift gate, you can move in and out, and you have the space for it. Because the biggest thing is that if we do get it, I can tell you right now, life cycle. We work together all the time. They would put a plastic Gaylord in there. We'd go on a weekly pickup. We would give them another big plastic Gaylord back. We would put plastic Gaylord into the truck, and we bring it back to the warehouse. So I mean, I know that there's going to be lots of those things. Those costs, I mean, I could blanket it and say it's going to be $10,000. I'm sure it'd be well under that, but I need to know, do people need 96-gallon toters or do they need Gaylords more? Until I can put this program out there and know who I'm reaching, I won't be able to know that. Yes.
That was my start of pilot program at Creekside. Get it established, see if you do have, I mean, you'll be able to report back in that first month
September,
of
hopefully,
September,
yeah.
you're gonna be able to report back and say, yeah, it is working.
Yeah.
And we can look at finding another trailer, parking it at a school, you can go pick up, you can drop off, you can lock the trailer off,
And that's the biggest thing, is locking the trailer off, which is why we like the trailer idea, because we can,
you can do a ball lock on it.
yes, we can
Be
lock it off.
done with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be more, myself personally, I'm just saying, I would be more in favor of that right now because you're not gonna go out and rush out and buy a new box truck right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. there's
And I can
100
tell you-
people other in line in front of you right now.
I
So-
did talk to Elgin. He may even have a trailer that we can look at, but he knows, of course, many people that already have things in place. So, you know, if you say 20,000 for that and another 2,000 on top of our insurance, which we blanketed, you know, we are only, there is an increase in salary, but it's not an increase to any of the bottom lines. I mean, nothing is an increase to the bottom line. This money is all here. The only increase to the bottom line is for the 2022 budget. If in fact we had to completely pay for the box truck, completely pay for the vertical baler, you know, those type of things. So there's no increase to our bottom line. This money is here. It's just the way in which we are utilizing it. Rather than saying 40,000 for the recycling facility itself, we're saying 40,000 for recycling. I'm saying that if you were to look at trailers at being, you know, anywhere between 8,000 and 10,000, because they have to then be redone to be able to open and do the different things, plus have the trailer underneath. So if you got two of those, and then 2,000 something additional for insurance.
They would have to modify.
We have to modify it,
They have to
that's the thing.
modify it.
So that we could, because if you put cardboard in a trailer and we can't just go dump at a recycling facility and we have to physically get it out, we have to be able to go in to physically get out the cardboard. A human. Yeah.
You can, yeah.
Right, but they're not gonna walk in the cardboard, they're gonna slot it in. So that it doesn't get wet and it doesn't, yeah. Are you thinking like a white, like enclosed trailer? I'm talking about a trailer that can be used for recycling.
So it's a specialty trailer.
Right.
Do they make those?
Oh, yeah, yes, that's how the southern part of the county, or southern part of the state does recycling.
So they have pre-made.
So,
trailers.
well, you just modify them, but I mean, yes, the same people that you just mentioned know how to make them. I mean, that's how Elgin gets his made. I mean, they just modify it. It's a slot and a hole.
So it'd be multi-purpose. You would have plastics, glass.
Exactly. If we were gonna bother, we would make sure it was set up so that it could be utilized for more than just walking in cardboard.
guess I don't know. One unknown unless.
Look at the crapshoot, if you go halfway right now, research the other.
Well, and again, it's very difficult just because, as you said, it's not available. But I know we need very little to make this happen. So it's not a huge expense, additional expense to the district beyond the purchase of the box truck.
What about staffing? I wasn't clear on staffing.
Changing,
To do the satellite program that Creekside would that require.
yes, it's all them. They're doing it. We're just collecting. Yep. Nope. Yeah, it's not a drop off. It's just them.
Anything's on the table right now, sir. That was just my recommendation to go with the trailer first as a pilot instead of jumping both feet in the pool, test the water a little bit, and see what we come out. Yeah, I mean, it's going to give you somewhat of it. That's why I kind of look at it as two different phases. It's two separate programs. That's why I asked earlier. It almost looks like two separate things. So.
It would. And I can tell you that we could probably use a trailer to do that initially to see how many people are coming along, because we would physically take the material and put it in there. But if let's just say this grows to 100 people, 100 businesses, we would definitely need a box truck, a lift gate, because we have to be moving in and out. We can't be physically taking everybody's stuff always. That definitely would require a lot more manpower than what we would have. But so do I think that we can get this program running without a box truck? Sure. I think a trailer can work. I think we can use our van if we had to, and we got some people interested. But ultimately, do we need a box truck? Absolutely. So if somebody knew somebody or something happened over the next 4.5 months and we got a hold of a box truck, then yes, this program would grow exponentially quicker than if we're sitting on the sidelines waiting for it. But that doesn't mean that we couldn't look at trailers, as well, because the trailers will absolutely be the most effective way to handle the schools. Absolutely, without a doubt. Right, exactly, because you want to be able to, yeah.
May I,
Think about
I think, one of the issues, if Creekside, you got school starting. So before we get back here again, might want to give some direction on those.
Did you say Bartholomew County's doing a pickup service?
But Bartholomew County has a huge pickup service. However, they are running a garbage truck to do their pickup service. We don't have the finances to incur that. But Monroe County is probably similar to what we're doing, and they have 2 box trucks and multiple employees.
We have to do a day trip. Basically what you want to do. See what we need. Yeah, I can see the box truck. So it goes to a business. This business is accumulated during the week, 400-pound cardboard.
Huh?
Who's going to get it out of that business into the truck?
They're going to have a Gaylord. So if that business,
Gaylord is what?
a big plastic container that can hold 1 to 2 tons. And so we're going to use the pallet jack to get that Gaylord moved, just like we do in our facility. We're going to pop it onto the truck and we're going to give them a new Gaylord to fill up.
You're not going to do that little cardboard van.
how big are these? Do you know the dimensions of this? Will they fit in a trailer?
A what? The Gaylord?
Gaylord.
No, a Gaylord wouldn't fit in a truck, but that's not how we would start out. That's how we would end up once we have the box trucks and once, if I'm starting with what you're saying, we're going to figure it out. But ultimately, it would be a box truck, a pallet jack, a Gaylord, and 96-gallon toters, and we would be moving them in and out of the businesses so that 1, the cardboard stays clean and is a viable, product for us to sell. But 2, they know exactly when they need pickups and what needs to be done, and we're just transferring. So we're just immediately running in, transferring, moving on to the next person. I was saying that plastic gaylords right now, it's a variety of costs because you can't necessarily get them because of China. So like Uline may say that they have them for $200 a piece, but then you plug it in and it says, well, we need to get back to you. And oh, by the way, you may not see this for 6 months. Yeah, $200-300. Just like giving you the example of you. Let's go for 3.
Because this is the reason I like that so much, because you know, I remember guys, you like numbers.
Commissioner, I love numbers. Pat,
And
am I obsessed with numbers?
Yes.
Obsessed. The problem is, it's very difficult because I can't.
no, it's not that.
It is because I can't get my hands on it. If I could get my hands on it, I could tell you.
You know what, it's not possible. Also, when I say, Gaylord, we can get some Gaylords and things. Then you need to determine how many Gaylords you need.
Right, but I can't determine that until I know that this program is going to be approved.
Well, but you're not gonna get the program approved unless you can start to put some numbers together that shows the cost, at least the initial cost, that's gonna be involved in it. And again, if I go back to the revenue side a little bit, you gotta be able to put some of that in there.
I did, I put in there that on average, it's $90 a ton, but I can't tell you how many tons I'm going to collect,
But $90 a ton only tells you what?
that it's $90 a ton.
$90, don't tell me how many tons you're gonna take in.
Commissioner, I have no concept of being able to figure out how many tons I'm gonna be able to take in. I don't know what the business is bring in besides the fact that they say, all we have is cardboard and we need to be able to pick that up.
So look at it this way. Here you are, let's just say you're an entrepreneur, you got this idea on cardboard collection and recycling, and you need a truck, and you need some Gaylords and all of that, and it's a great business idea, you think, and you're gonna go to the bank because you need financing to support the startup. Now, if you went into the bank and you said, no, I got no idea what it's gonna cost. How many of these guys? Well, I don't know yet. Well, what's your tonnage got? I got no idea. You know what the bank's gonna tell you? Come back when you got an idea. You
Commissioner, the
got to
problem
be
is
able to
that I
put some
serve,
numbers to that somehow.
I understand, but in serving the whole county, I have no direct idea of what it is. I can just tell you that I know we would stay within the budget for what we have, and that's how we would start the program. So if Commissioner West wants us to have 2 trailers and he says $20,000,
That's Walt's.
oh, sorry, Commissioner Walls,
He sends to the west of it.
yes, wants to have 2 trailers and he says $20,000, then you better believe I'm gonna find 2 trailers that are gonna work within the $20,000 parameter.
So here's, I'm gonna give you the key word. And you take this word and make it work. And everybody uses it when they go to the bank for financing. It's called project. You project. Yeah, you don't know. You got no idea, but you're gonna project. I'm projecting I'm gonna get this much and it's gonna be, I'm gonna get this many tons of cardboard at $90 a ton. And that's gonna be my revenue stream, and I'm projecting I need this much in capital cost because I need this many Gaylords in the truck. And I'm projecting this is what my labor costs are gonna be because I gotta have a guy drive it. You project all that.
Well, okay, so the labor cost would be $16.25 at $25 an hour, or excuse me, $16.50 for 25 hours a week. We know that the increase of the salary is about $1,500 initially and then $1,500 again. So if we were to take that all across the board, plus add the 20,000,
Can we do this real quick?
Put all that into a little spreadsheet. I'll help you.
oh, I know how to zero-based budget, I know how to start. The problem is that in a government, it's very difficult to project because I have no idea who is going to participate in the way in which we can do that. I'm not a business that can serve them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to be a business that can serve them on Monday and Thursday within the capacity of this. Will that work for them? So that's part of the difficulty.
You say you have no idea. It's not gonna be labor this, but you can't say, I got no idea. to have some. Yeah.
I agree with Mr. Walls on who would have trailers for Creekside.
We can establish a cost for a trailer. And that's a fixed cost. I mean, I think it's evident that we need to move forward with a little bit more discussion. I think Commissioner West and Jesse need to get together and speak about that. I think the issue that lays in front of us now, what are we going to do with this? And like I go back to my original statement, I think it's a two-phase thing. Commissioner West, when you were talking about a box truck, deliveries picking up, pickups everywhere around the county. I'm talking about a fixed position right now. Maybe one that can maybe roam the county a little bit, one that's fixed at a pilot program at Creekside like it was brought to us originally. So I guess I would be in favor of a 2-trailer purchase, one going to Creekside and one being, i.e. a little mobile right now. And it might give you the information that Commissioner West needs without going to buying a truck, maintenance, gas, fuel, insurance, all that extra stuff that we have built in, that has to be built into this. I think to satisfy Commissioner West, you're going to have to get that.
Okay, but then here's the additional problem is that the reason why all that is built into 2022 is because my budget will be before we need. So that is why 2022's budget.
Well, if we look at the budget and we put discretionary spending on the board, if we can raise that up, we can change that pre-budget time. Does that make sense? If
Yeah,
we
no,
want to
that's
increase
fine.
that,
So
it's discretionary spending, so it's not being spent
Right.
unless we authorize
Right.
it. So the 50 can go to 75 and it can still stay in that line item without being touched. So I'm okay with that. It's just, I think you need something, school's coming on. It's getting here real quick. I mean, maybe you find out this other trailer isn't working on the mobile. It's going to answer a lot of questions. Or you put it in a different school. You can put it in one of the Center Grove, one of the Greenwood schools, Whitewood schools, anybody else showing interest.
Oh,
That
yeah.
trailer is just sitting there, not costing anybody a dime unless kids get crazy and want to cut off tires and stuff. But
No, I mean, I think that, trailer is what we were going to suggest for the school. So I think that's a great idea. So if we want to start on that. we
do
can
you
start.
have somebody that can modify this trailer?
Yes, yes. I mean, the same companies that you're talking about are available. So I work with Elgin to make sure that.
Okay. All right. No, I'm not making a motion from the chair today. I just threw that out there.
Is there a motion?
What do you think, Commissioner West?
The trailer aspect of pickup going around the county. You got to put a Gaylord in there, one size trailer.
If they market it and we got cardboard recycling set up at the annex, West Annex, they've got it set up in Greenwood Parks, they've got it set up at Franklin Parks, down in Edinburgh, southern part of the county. If you set up and market that right to your people, that, it's going to, like you said, it's going to take a little time for this to get out in the community.
I don't know that you can get the Gaylord with pallet jack.
You can use a hand pallet
I'm
jack.
talking about Gaylords and trailers, correct?
No.
Yeah, Gaylords are not gonna go in the trailers.
You can do a roll down back gate, just like they drive
Right,
on
but
board.
she said- The trailer's gonna be designed,
Okay, I have perfect solution. We do the one trailer that's modified, we do the other trailer that is unmodified that allows us to get at least 96-gallon toters in there so that we can start the program, so that we can say we have a program. Hopefully I come back in September and or November and have a list of people that are interested in this program so that you can see why this box truck is so necessary. Got it.
Sounds like we're in pretty good shape right there. I guess I would need a motion for, from an estimated cost for the 2 trailers. I mean, is that a $30,000, $15,000 a piece?
Oh, I'm thinking max. I mean, yeah, because again, hopefully I can get a used one that can just be repainted and not the box, but the other one, because all those things are constantly in rotation. So the modified one might be out there. It may just require a paint job. I just gotta look and see.
Guess I look for a motion. However you want to put it together. I guess my suggestion right now would be just put a monetary value on that motion for the purpose of 2 trailers. And I think we're going to leave that in the professionals' hands to decide if one needs to be modified, one does not need to be modified. I don't think this board needs to be in the weeds that far. I think we just need to look at a monetary right now. We can get into all the weeds, but I think we've discussed enough of it so many different ways. If she feels like one modified for the creek side would work on an interim basis to see how that works, and have one that if she does want to use it to pick up the Gaylords and roll them up the back ramp like they take lawnmowers and stuff in, you can do that, and she can pack them in, or she can set up however she wants to market it. I think that would leave that to staff to make that determination.
The cost of those 2 trailers not to exceed.
Yes,
what you're asking.
X. Yes.
She's indicated 20,000.
Well, I'm saying that we can look at that, but if we put 30 and I can find it for 20, I mean, I'd hate to have it be 20 and then it costs 12 for the modified one and I can't find a drop down one for 8. You know, because again, this is all a matter of if I can actually.
I'll make a motion of 25.
Thank you.
Not to exceed.
And hopefully we stay under that.
Well, she wants more trailers, I gotta know she's more trailers.
Yes, just like anything else, I try and always stay right at my budget.
Your wheels still turn down, or Commissioner West?
No, that's not. I got air brakes.
We got a motion and a second on the floor for $25,000 max spending on a couple of trailers. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Yes, you do.
Yes, we
You
did.
have 4-7, I was hard to go
I
6,
just thought of
but I was concerned. It was
the first thing I asked
Yeah, you got a 4 out of
Four
7.
sitting there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, my God. I said, "Yeah, my wheels are turning."
Okay, motion passes. Jesse,
I
the
think
last 20 minutes, we'll never get back, but for 30 minutes, we'll carry on to the council meeting at 6.
I think
We haven't got the budget yet. Oh, everybody's signed. Okay. So we got that one. Now we're looking at, you good, Jesse?
until we do the budget. Yes, I'm great.
Okay.
I'm moving forward with my park program, coming up
Okay.
with the dollars.
There you go. Can't wait to hear the report back. Hopefully it's a positive report.
Yeah.
Legal report.
I shall try to be succinct. Sir, you will recall in your January minutes, you approved the resolution to designate a council representative as a claims entity in the unlikely event that Mr. Sherman is not available. You approved that in your minutes, you authorized it for both your January and March minutes, but there was no execution of it. So for the third time, I brought it here, approving the council member to be the representative as a claims entity. Mr. Sherman, controller is not available.
You were late today.
Yeah, we got a little hurry.
I think they gave us social security checks. So they come back. Left hand
The second item, sir, and so my request would be if you would execute that in accordance with your prior approval. That would be helpful. The second thing is resolution number 4. In your March minutes, I was instructed, and I cannot recall who directed, perhaps Mr. Baird or Mr. West, to prepare a resolution to authorize electronic meetings once the governor's emergency order is over. I drafted a resolution in accordance with the guidance that we have received from AIM and various institutions with regard to allowing for electronic meetings in accordance with the legislation. As you all know from your other services, service to your other entities, the governor did extend the emergency. I was kind of surprised, but right now we're still allowed for electronic meetings, but we're not doing that at this point in time. So it is before you for your consideration if you wish to allow this board to electronic. Standard rules apply as the statute requires. We can't attend more than 50% of the meetings. We have to make sure we do roll call votes. We have to have it so that we can actually see members that aren't there. You can't attend by more than 2 consecutive meetings on this electronic. So it is there for your consideration if you choose to adopt it. You did not formally adopt it last time. You
So resolution 3 will be appointing the claims designated.
That needs to be executed. You've already approved it. You have not approved the resolution of electronic meetings. I believe that's in front of them, if they wish to do that.
Everybody understands what the electronic meetings are?
To approve.
Committee or the-
I don't like it.
Don't like it?
No.
There's a definite benefit. There's no downside that I can see.
I just think we should be here more than 50% of the meetings. That's just my,
Yeah, I think
that's
that's-
my gripe.
Very.
Yeah, well, that's up to the individual. I mean, I guess if you wanted to do half your meetings by Zoom, that'd be up to you, but I don't see it as something anybody's gonna abuse. I just see it as, hey, if you're on vacation or something and you didn't want to participate, do some of that.
Most likely it's going to come down to maybe 1 a year, maybe 2. Max. It would be over the-
Well, right now you're good through July. And sir, here's the draft resolution with that's done. That right now we're
Loading
good
up with paperwork.
under the Emergency Powers Act. So we could have done today. If you want to take it up at your next meeting, when you have a full board or perhaps more, I'm comfortable. I would just following your instructions and have something available. If you want to take a little more time to discuss it, that's up to you. If this would be in the event the emergency order is left to expire, we were told it was going to expire in July. We renewed that. I got a feeling it would be expired in August. In which case, then we go back to you can't attend electronically. This would allow you to attend electronically. So if you want to, Carla, did you provide a copy of it to all council members before today?
They were all emailed out.
So if you want to think about it, it's not something that requires immediate action. If you did want to do it, they're ready for your.
Good coin. We got this.
I think, no more than 2 meetings in a row, we meet every other month, 6 times a year. I think that's a little excessive.
Canvas meetings are, we can, does that follow the standards? of
Yes.
What you've got?
Yeah,
That's safe, okay.
it follows the guidelines.
Okay.
And it's an optional thing. As a board, you have the discretion to adopt your.
I think this is one of the questions I had before, Lynn. Is there anything that does talk about absenteeism beyond this? So like if you just can't make it, you
We
can't
had, like
make it?
David was injured, he couldn't be here, so he did via Zoom.
Yeah.
For a couple of meetings. I mean, he couldn't get out.
Right. It's really a different analysis, Jesse. What you're talking about is that board member just doesn't come.
Yeah.
That is not the electronic meeting. That's not what the electronic meeting is. That is a high topic, as perhaps you as elected officials have seen. There are questions of whether or not a council person who fails to attend can be removed by the rest of the board. That's a proposition. It's really not what this is intended to address. I think there's some elected officials that don't go to meetings that are now subject to a lot of political, not here.
Thank you. I think so. We pretty much.
No, I was just
Some
saying,
treasurers in some towns and things, and that's kind of hot topic right now. But can they be removed? Don't go to meetings. That's not what this is.
no.
You guys want to digest this a little bit more, bring it back in September? Gonna change your mind? We're gonna have a full board probably in September, a little bit more robust conversation. I would probably do that.
We didn't hear from
Brian had
David
to
at
step
all.
out. We'll get Mayor back and David will hopefully be in here. I just think, let's just do it. I'm gonna make a motion.
That's fine. In fact, I think it was Mr. Barrett. I think it was Mr. Barrett that instructed Barrett to make sure.
Yeah, I'd like, yeah. Full input from the board.
Second.
All right, we got first and second. David. All in favor? Signify. Aye.
And this
There we
is
go.
just motion, this is for, number
Just take-
4.
Yes.
This is for 4.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I have, sir.
I can do this now. So you try it. Because I won't do that.
I will.
And I'm sorry, who seconded that? Sorry, there was a lot of talk.
I did.
Thank you.
Okay. Any Any old business? Moving on. All right. Jesse, we got new business, 2022 budget presentation.
Okay. You should all have copies of the budget. You did, of course, get it ahead of time. For those of you that maybe didn't notice, I did have a sheet number 2. That sheet number 2 is on the front page and addressed the one extra thing that Commissioner West had asked me about, which was questions about depreciation and the vehicle gas and maintenance. So for those of you who may have similar questions, I addressed all of that within there. Again, all of that has to do more with the recycling board route than it does general day-to-day business, as does pretty much all the increases you see under capital outlays. And of course, that's where the biggest difference is within our budget is the capital outlays for 2022.
The one question I posed to you was on the reduction in pension. You didn't respond on that.
I did include that on here though, sorry. The reduction in pension has to do with the fact that we completely did away with that 4th full-time person. So it truly is just representative of the 3 full-time people. So last year still had a piece of the 4 full-time people.
The office manager.
Yes.
What?
He's backing on his phone a little bit over here, so. Jesse, here, one question for you. The office rental goes up to 90,000. Is it progressive lease or is it a fixed lease?
What it is that our lease is due in April. And so there's really no way. So as I mentioned in the page 2 information, Lynn will start working on that with him.
Do we have an escalator in the lease?
No, it's we have a right to renew.
Right.
Right to renew. Sorry.
Well, that's fine. No, I'm just curious if they had an
No, it's
escalator
not
in there.
escalated. No, it's fixed, but we have,
So it's
we have a
fixed.
built-in right to renew.
Okay.
No.
No, because there was no dollar bills. There are some things that we need to discuss for renewal to make sure that they're included, which they already are, but emphasized. So, but otherwise it's great. I mean, we just don't have any idea. So, yeah, no, so,
Sometimes they put an automatic increase.
no, it's just so difficult because I have to do it now and it's not until.
So that's,
If it helps, I would love it 10 years like that. Let's just,
burden hands for doing Bush.
yeah. I mean, it's great and it
What is
works fantastic.
Is this the 3rd or 4th time we've done it? So at least the third time we've stayed there, we're getting that.
Third time since I've been here. I've been here 10 years, so it would have been one time for this.
Yeah.
We've done the pension thing. 21, 100 series, well, this was salaried people, not the part-time.
Right.
Went down 12,623 hours for 2022. That's about a 7% reduction, but yet the pension went down $3,264 or 16%. That doesn't bear out. It's not a big deal. It's just,
I'm confused.
when I saw it, that was a big drop. Compared to what you were doing in let's talk real quick on your additional information here. You start out under salaries, including an overall 5% rise to be closer in line with surrounding district. What you're proposing, a recycling supervisor, that's a little over a 9% increase.
Well, it's because he needs to be increased now if he's gonna start taking on both job duties, and he's already low. And then allowing him the additional increase in
So,
January 1,
so you're wanting to increase his salary this year.
right, which we have, right, and then still give him the,
on that for next
right,
year.
to get him, he's not
So what's
in
your
line at all.
proposed increase for this year?
5%. 5%, if you go back to this cardboard. It was 40,050, I believe. Excuse me, 40,041.
It's 40,000, 5%.
So you rounded down and I rounded up.
What you rounded up to?
40,041.
Oh, you can't do that. Let's go round it up. And then your plan. So, based on that, you want to do another 5%?
Right, to get him, I mean, he wouldn't even be really in line with what the other programs are doing, but it would certainly be a substantial increase to what he's doing to be taking on 2 positions.
Well, another this thing that would be good.
So I think we will sit down together because I'll make sure that we're both using the same exact information.
Yeah, we might get 2022 budgeted salary 42,042, not 41,612. If you did 5 or 5.
42,612, you said?
No,
42,042. Right. I'll go around it up. The only thing that on the salaries, I would probably like to hear what the council's going to do for the government and employees in a way of increases, and then maybe look at how that compares with what you proposed.
Even though we have the finances and the ability to pay for this. if you look at the, and my budget also has to be put in. Did you look at this as a comparison?
Oh, yeah.
And I also included the general benefits for all counties that you asked me to as well.
What's the timeline on budget?
So,
Before,
Guidelines tonight.
Yeah, that was like,
We can take, I guess we can take everything under consideration except for salaries. All other line items. And then we can do it probably via email if you want. If that's what's holding up, it's the salaries. And seeing what the county's gonna do. I know, I understand where you're coming from. You want to keep everything across the board.
yeah, I'd like to see it.
if I could, the only thing I would like to say about that comparable is that our job is all encompassing. We have to do everything from budgets to HR to the work that we do out in the public every day to, every piece. There's nobody else that does that for us. There's no other employees to turn to. So, that's why it's a little difficult. And if you look at our backgrounds are so varied and so deep in what we do on a regular basis that sometimes it's difficult to just be looked at as another, well, this is general 3% across the board. So I just would like that to be taken into consideration.
I think we take that into consideration. Our directors do the same thing that your director does, our assistant directors do the same thing. They do their own HR, they do their own budgets. I don't see a whole lot of difference when you're talking that type of administrative position. Maybe on some other stuff like the cardboard collection.
Right, we have to, we are the one that presents everything to the state. We are the ones that have to put in all that information. So I'm just saying that we truly do every piece. Plus, we are certified in a lot of very different ways that, in some of the similar ways to police, to fire, to all these things. And sometimes I feel that we are just looked at as the recycling district and not really looked at overall all that we do. Now, obviously, I will go on the advice of council because you are out there, but I think sometimes you are our work, don't always understand day-to-day workings of what we do on a regular basis.
What portion of the health and medical do the employees get?
We don't get health and medical. All the other districts are 100% paid by the district.
Saying it says $30,000 in medical, is there any employee in that or is that all paid by?
We each get $10,000 as a stipend for all of those things because we don't get any, for all of the things that the county offers.
So it's a $10,000.
So it's a $10,000 stipend.
What
Right,
about,
that's a taxable stipend.
Yes, $10,000 taxable stipend.
about the 457 pension? Is there an employee portion to that or does that all come out of?
I put in 15%, but it comes out of the budget but that's the same across the board to all districts.
That's what I, those are the things I do.
Yeah.
That's a further discussion or somebody got a motion to move forward?
Again, yes, on the Franklin Center, you were able to reduce that 20,000. What was the reason for that?
Because the hope is we'll have all the things purchased this year that we need to purchase, i.e. Gaylords, different things. So we don't know the true operating costs because again, we haven't been completely open, but I can't imagine once those things are purchased, we would need more than 20,000 because really it's more of a maintenance or small things.
So the 40 you got in this year's budget will cover what you think the cost is going to be for that.
Exactly. We'll analyze it to make sure that we make those purchases.
Do when I replied, I replied all, so I guess everybody saw the questions that yeah. Yeah, this is, and part of, I mean, obviously you gotta speculate some on what you're gonna do next year, and I think you understand that.
Any more questions for Justin?
We're gonna do the trailers this year.
Right. If you have a minute afterwards, I can show you my highlights.
Well, I was just saying, if we're gonna do the trailers this year, what's the plan on that? Gonna do that in a discretionary spending?
That's under board discretionary spending. Or that's what I assumed it was. I assumed something different.
No, that's what I thought it was coming out of, yeah.
Discriminatory spending.
So what are we gonna do on salaries? Gonna have a,
I'm looking for a motion if you want to, I guess it would be the board's pleasure, whatever you want to do. If you want to wait for the county to set their budget guidelines tonight and kind of give everybody an indication and see if she is in line with that, where the county council's going tonight. If you can do all the other line items, you can approve everything except for salaries. I mean, I can take it, we can take it any different type of motion you want
I
to
wouldn't
look at it.
I don't have a problem with the 2, 3, 400 series. If they want to do that on a 100 series, wait for the council. Give their guidelines.
The only thing I would need is a little advice on how you want to, once that is established tonight, how you want to follow up. If you want to do an emergency meeting or a special meeting, or if you want to do it via computer, email.
A couple of things to remember, just because the budget doesn't include salary. That's number one. Number two, this is a recommended budget to go forward to the council. I think that's that process. To do everything, just make it right.
They don't have a budget hearing until September.
Yeah.
It's
Or the 8th.
8th or 7th, something like that. So, yeah, the 7th is first.
But where are the 60? And I meet with DLGF at the end of August.
But we could always, if we had to do it special.
Well, it's not a vote, so I don't know that you would have to get together a special thing. They just, can someone, president or vice president, send out the recommendation?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So would we need to have a special meeting? Or can someone just say, this is what we're
If they're going to do the 100, 200, 300 search form search, if they make a motion to approve that today as the budget moving forward and pull out salary, how would that be determined at a later date? Legal.
All you're doing is you're taking it into account. Right, they come, and then it comes back.
right. What I'm saying is that because it's not a vote, I don't know that we have to have a special meeting. I would think you should just be able to recommend.
Well, I don't think, again, I'm on budgetary. So it's gotta be a vote. It has to be a vote.
Is there a vote
That
that's-
vote comes in November though.
When
See,
they-
the vote
when they
on the
approve it.
salary comes on November. I'm saying as far as the budget goes though, I mean, we can come November and say, okay, this is what you guys agreed on based on what the county said, and this is what it is. That
Make
vote,
alterations to it.
Correct.
yes,
That's
yes,
correct.
that vote happens in November.
Because all this review is the recommended, you're telling them to go forward to council.
Right.
I think what I'm thinking is we're not recommending the salaries for council.
Is that what you're asking?
But what I'm saying is that you can still in November say, the salary needs to be set at X and not. So let's say I put $75,000 in there. In November, you can say, based off of the 3% increase to the board, you would then vote on it then. Because none of this budget gets voted on now.
It's good, but I wouldn't be in agreement with going to council the way it is.
So what would you like me to put? Because we're not
I'd
gonna,
like to wait to see what the council does on guidelines to make that decision.
This gets very hairy. I mean, not only for your department, but for the whole county.
And we have 500 other employees that look for this, and we have to deal with it.
oh, I understand. I mean, because again, every county has a solid waste district. So I mean, I do understand that. So
what I'm hearing is as three commissioners, you don't want to go forward to the council 5% increase in the event the council is on under.
We're not going to recommend that in our department. So I would recommend that. Council's going to tell us what they would like us to do, and we want to stick to that as much as possible. And there's a disparity throughout the county. It's not just the recycling district.
oh, I know, but that's why I did the comparison so that you could
We
see.
go down in a lot of areas. The disparities there is what it is. That's not the county at this point. We're still, that's why we have a council and why they make some of the tough decisions they have to make.
Well, as the council, I mean,
Can you make a recommendation, legal question, for the other series and take the salary, rewrite the salary into following budget guidelines put out for the county council?
They're gonna have guidelines tonight.
Yeah.
So once those guidelines are set,
We need to be
they bring back a
listening.
recommendation, and then I'm gonna say bring back the recommendation of what the county director, or the council is recommending.
Yeah.
Is the only thing I'm gonna say.
I guess that's what I'm saying is that if you say that now, then that's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
So do we need to have a meeting?
I think that's what the motion is, whatever. Yeah, now, that may be 0. I don't know what council's going to tonight or no raises or whatever.
I think we're open to.
Well, and it is difficult because we do have a
You just don't
million.
know. You just don't know.
And you're gonna see some discussion tonight, you know, who knows, come down, and I think that's good. Yes, if she wants to, I guess my concern is now is if we say the 2% right now, and that's what we say, which is what I think Mike Reuter is recommending, is not, you know,
I think it was sure he had figured in.
2% that he had figured into our budget to keep us within realm. So we don't know where that's gonna end up tonight. So if we tell her to go, we right now vote, we recommend 2%, then they may get shorted in the long run. Yes, we can come back and change it, but why go through that process?
Or you could just simply say you would forward all series with the exception of 100 series in accordance with what council's recommended is tonight.
Yeah,
Is that your
so I think everybody's okay with that.
That's what I was trying,
I
yeah,
think that was the motion.
take a motion.
I'll make that.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Second,
Brian,
Mr. West.
Brian put it on and Wes seconded it.
And then when you guys make the budget, you can decide which one. Salaries. Correct.
I think all of it right now.
And I make certain that we're clear, the budget that will be approved. You approved the one, all the 2, 3, and 4. You approved one subject to the council's recommendation on the percentage.
And that will probably not totally play out until September. To be honest, I mean, that's when they have their actual budget hearings.
And I assume we would just have to have a meeting prior to that, so that can go forward.
And that will, whatever, September.
Well, we'll have a meeting before I have to present, but it has to be closed in the state by September 1.
We just need to have a meeting prior to that. I think all that discussion on what the council is going to recommend will be done in the next.
Hopefully they hold back. He's all dressed up for the meeting tonight, as you can see.
This is the month, this is the month, well, next few months, you don't want to be on the council.
Yeah, this is when you make.
All the other times pretty good. It's
It
just-
is.
This time you're bad.
Okay. Do we,
Did we have a vote on that motion?
yes, we
Yes, we
did.
did.
I phased out there for a minute.
It's unanimous.
All right. right, well, the easy one, the next executive board meeting is September 13th. Don't anyone forget.
Be before that.
Yeah. And but that'll be subject, we'll see how it plays out. We need to do this.
I think we'll have plenty of time.
Yes.
Pat, you want to say anything publicly? You got anybody on Zoom want to say anything publicly?
Nobody on Zoom.
Nobody's doing it.
No.
Ron, are you gonna take a road trip?
Am I?
Yes.
Good.
To go look up these traveling recycling things.
That's not how any of the cardboard
Oh.
gets collected though. That's how
Oh,
their drop offs are. done.
right, I'm talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to do that sometime in the future, go to.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we got first and second, we are adjourned. Thank you.
I'd be willing to do that sometime.
I would like to be good at the game.